everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Chase for the Checkers. This week we got a little bit of a twofer. We're going in on Sonoma a little bit, and I'll tell you why it's just a little bit. But then I also am going to give you a pick that I like for an in-season challenge matchup this week. And then I'm also going to give you who I think is going to win the in-season challenge. I've got 4 picks for those. So a little bit of both, wanted to combine them. Still don't expect to have a really super long episode here because I don't have a lot for Sonoma. Keep wanting to call it Infineon. Do you remember when it was called that? Is that just me? Is it like a Berenstain Bears thing? Anyways. But yeah, so not much to review for the San Diego race. I had kind of tackled that the way I'm going to tackle this race and how I've been really kind of just tackling road courses in general this year. I had a couple top 5s, a couple top 10s. AJ Allmendinger ultimately was the only one that hit. I did not take an outright last week for the same reason I'm not taking one this week. And that's how we're going to kind of start this show is I'm not doing an outright. I was hoping that they would have learned after SVG opened at like 170 at some books last week. And then he wrecked. To not do that, it's just crazy. Right now he's like minus 150. I'm just not taking that. I do have a place where I like where it involves SVG winning and it being worth some money. So there is a play later on that I'll get into that I like where you can kind of make some money off of SVG in a way. But yeah, so for sake of time, because I don't know if you can hear, but it's starting to storm around here and I don't really want to be caught out here in the storm and in the rain. We're going to jump in to some top 5 bets. Like I said, no outright, just some top 5 picks. I've only got 3. First one I have is Michael McDowell. McDowell has been one of the best at the road courses. And here especially, he's got the second best average finish in the next gen era at Sonoma. He's never finished worse than 7th, which is really impressive. Since the start of 2025, McDowell is top 10 in speed rank and top 3 in average finish. And that is the start of 2025, all the road courses since the start of 2025. With needing to really add to the points to make a chase run, I expect them to be aggressive. They always kind of treat these races as his only chance, those in the super speedway, or these in the super speedways, that is. But with the new chase format, they're in a bit of a hole right now. They're going to really need to try to dig out of that. This is a good place for them to do that. So I expect them to really put forth an effort. Not that they wouldn't to begin with, but I really think that they will be aggressive. They're known for making aggressive calls to get a good finish, and I think it will at least be a top 5, if not more. I'm not putting my money there, but I do like it. I'm at the top 5. Next top 5 guy I have is Ty Gibbs at plus 260 on DraftKings. Gibbs has been a standout driver this year, and his road course skills have been really shining, as we have noticed over the past couple of years. Think of that Mexico City race, even though the finish wasn't necessarily as good as he wanted, still had a really good showing. The 54 team has the 3rd best average speed ranking this year at road courses, 4th best since the start of 2025. His average finish here isn't great, but he did finish 7th last year, and I think with the leap that he's taken this year, how fast the Toyotas have been, I think it's a really good number for him. I think they're kind of undervaluing him, or undervaluing him and what he's been able to do. So I like this number at plus 260. I think he will be a threat for a top 5. Man, it's really raining. My last top 5 guy I like is Mr. Busher at plus 285 on DraftKings. He's another one who's just a road course guy. We all know this by now. He's got an average finish of 6.3, which is 4th overall, 4th best average finish since 2025. Busher is another driver who will be looking to maximize on points. He's pretty, I don't want to say locked in, because a lot of stuff can happen, but he's pretty comfortable where he's at. But he's still going to want to win, so I like them to I think that they will also be aggressive, be looking for stage wins, stage points, and ultimately getting the win. Moving on to that top 10, I've got one top 10 pick this week, and it is the same one I had last week. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. AJ Allmendinger plus 110 on Caesars. Listen, if you're going to give the road course ringer Mr. Dinger to me for a top 10 plus money, I'm going to take it, especially if it's at a road course. He is, I'm pretty sure I saw the stat, he's 3 for 3 on road courses. I think he's going to do the clean sweep, 4 for 4 on the road courses this year. He is, in the next gen era, he's got a 12.3 average finish, along with an 8.3 speed ranking at road courses this year. And again, he's a road course guy. He's been doing really good this year, despite all of the odds being against that team. And I think this is another race that he's going to be able to qualify well, I think. And I think he's running up there in that top 10 spot, absolutely for sure. So that is my one top 10 pick. But again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. AJ Allmendinger plus 110. So this is where, in my props here, I am attempting. This is where I think you can make some money off of SVG without taking a terrible plus or minus 150 to win bet. Now, again, anything can happen. I know that there is a bet out there, I think, on Caesars for him to not win. Plus 130. I don't want to take that either, because I do think he will win. I just don't want to take the price that he's at. So what I like here on Caesars, they have stage 1 winner to win the race is at plus 100, and they have stage 2 winner to win the race is also at plus 100. So I think SVG, after the finish that he had last week, he's in 17th. They were really hoping that this 2 road courses back-to-back, he was going to stack up a whole bunch of points, win both races, get himself in a really good spot in the chase. That obviously didn't happen, so now they're going to have to really be aggressive, really go for this. We all think he's going to win. He probably will. But I also think he's going to try to win a stage, if not both, and the race to really maximize on those points. Now, in the 7 road courses that SVG has won, he has won a stage in 4 of those. So, I don't necessarily know which stage it's going to be. I don't know if it'll be, hey, go ahead and win stage 1, then we'll, do strategy on stage 2. I want to say it was Watkins Glen, maybe. He won stage 2 and won the race. So, I didn't really know which one. I took both. But I think that is where, if you really think SVG is going to win, but you don't want to lay down that money on that minus 150 line, I think this is where you can at least have a plus money option for him. And even if it's not SVG that wins, there's still a good chance that somebody who wins a stage will win the race as well. So it doesn't have to be SVG. It can be somebody else. It just says whoever wins one of these stages is also going to win the race. And it's not 1 and 2 wins the race. There is that option of a sweep. I don't think it'll be a sweep, but I do think he's going to win at least one of the stages to try to maximize points. So that's the bet that I like, and that's on Caesars at plus 100, stage 1 winner or stage 2 winner to win the race. But now we're going to go into the in-season challenge picks. I know that this pick is technically still on Sonoma, but it is a in-season challenge matchup. I'm excited for this. I was excited for it last year. I loved it when Denny first introduced the idea just to begin with. It hasn't taken off really like I think a lot of people wanted to. It being at Atlanta was kind of just a crapshoot. The first year and that first round just really threw out a bunch of people's picks. So I think this year with the starting at Sonoma, it's going to be more straightforward. But I think that will hopefully help. I'm hoping that it really just catches on. The good news is I think it will be a little bit tougher because the season has been so good so far. The racing's been good. We've had a lot of drama with the points and a lot of stuff that's just kind of really went our way as fans of what we wanted. Again, speaking like of the points and going to the chase format, that I don't want to say I don't like it. I still like it during the summer, but I'm still pretty tuned in right now, and it's not, they had this for that summer stretch where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of getting tired of racing. But with the points and all of that, I'm still pretty invested. I don't like. I want them to keep this, but if it went away after this year, I don't think I would be too upset. Again, I want them to keep it. I like it. I think it's cool, a good incentive. But the drivers got to get more hyped about it. Last year, all the drivers been like, I don't even know who I'm going against. Baloney. I don't want to hear that. I want to see more incentive. I've talked about it. I think it'd be cool if stage points or something else other than just the money was awarded to the drivers so that there is more for the overall arc of the season. I know that can really get into the gimmicky thing, but I think that'd be really cool to make this in-season challenge take off and mean just a little bit more as well. So keep the money, but also say, you get however you can do, so many stage points for each round that you advance, or just the winner gets 15 extra stage points. I don't know. I think that would be a good way to handle it and to make it mean a little bit more to these drivers. But I'm rambling on about that too much. So let's go to the matchup. This is the only matchup that I found that I really, really like. I was hoping for Brad Keselowski, who's going against Austin Cindric. I was hoping Brad Keselowski would get into plus money. He did not. If you can find him plus money, I do like that pick, but I didn't really want to lay any coin down on him at he's like minus 110, minus 105, which isn't bad. But that's not the pick. The pick is Zane Smith over Carson Hocevar at plus 154 on FanDuel. If you look at the average finishes, perhaps you are looking on the sheet that is brought to you by iFantasy Race, my guy Ryan. Maybe you've seen this on Twitter. If you don't follow him, you can get all these stats on there. But if you look on there, you'll see that Carson Hocevar and Zane Smith are not very far apart when it comes to average finishes. And in fact, Carson Hocevar has a better average finish at Sonoma. But they've only ran 2 races here each. And when you look at this year's road courses, Zane Smith has actually finished better in every race except, or actually every race. Now, I would say Carson Hocevar probably had the better car last week, but then ran into Corey Heim, or Corey Heim ran into him. But nevertheless, he has finished better than him every road course this year. And, but really what it comes down to, so Carson Hocevar has not been like a known road course guy. Zane Smith really hasn't either. But what it boils down to is I trust Zane Smith's driving style a little bit more than what I do Carson Hocevar. I expect Smith to have a cleaner race, not get into trouble, not overdrive, things like that, which I say that he has done that here recently. The last, 2 races ago, our last Oval one or whatever it was. But I just think that's the best value out there for a matchup in this first round. There's some out there that's crazy numbers. You take Ryan Preece against SVG, which is at plus 960. That might be worth it just because he's just got to beat one guy, and we know that anything can happen at these road courses. Example was last week. I don't think that'll happen 2 weeks in a row, but that is something that it's to just beat one guy, that's not a bad number. I haven't really looked at some of these other ones again, but most of them are pretty straightforward, and this race is going to be pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of cautions that usually happen. So, yeah, not really going to stick my neck out for a lot of them, but I do like this one. I think it's at a good number, and I think a lot of people are maybe just taking that Carson Hocevar hype, and that's kind of what's making him the bigger favorite than what I think you should be. So, yeah, that is my matchup that I like. And then just going over who I think will actually win the tournament, I printed off a couple different things. I know NASCAR.com actually has an article out where they talk about it. And they have a in-season challenge odds. So they have to make the round of 16, make the round of 8, 4, and then the final 2, and to win it. So they've got Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick as the favorites. They are both have a 14% chance to win, according to this NASCAR chart here. Followed by Ryan Blaney at 12%, Kyle Larson at 9%, Ty Gibbs at 7%, Chase Elliott at 6%. You got Chase Briscoe and William Bryan at 5%, and then Christopher Bell and Chris Buescher are at 4%, and that rounds out your top 10. But I've got 4 guys after doing my research and just kind of looking at some of these average finishes, the DNFs that these drivers have had this year, looking at like a certain point where I think once you get to that, that's when it will really start. So I've got Denny Hamlin at plus 550. He is the favorite. He's the favorite for a reason. He's been running lights out. Obviously, he's fast everywhere we go. And he doesn't have any DNFs this year. And I think that just that speed and consistency is going to carry him a long way. I think he gets by Ty Dillon this year, or this week, this race at Sonoma for his first round matchup. And then we're at Chicagoland. You got to expect he's going to be up front there, probably a good chance to win it. Atlanta, Echo Park, that is where he would match up against, he could potentially match up against Eric Jones, Joey Logano, Chris Buescher, John Hunter Nemechek, Ross Chastain, or Christopher Bell. But I think Bell's probably going to be he's probably going to be out again, so I don't know how that's going to work. So that one is where, if he can get past that, I mean, then you've got North Wilkesboro. I imagine he's going to be good there. And then you've got Indy. And spoiler alert for that video, I think he gets that and completes his crown jewel collection. You can insert the Thanos Final Stone meme there. And then he ends up winning the championship. But that's just kind of my thoughts on the rest of the season. But I think if Denny Hamlin can get past Atlanta, because I think he will get to that round at least, I think he's got a really good shot to go all the way and to win it. The next guy that I like to win this whole tournament is Kyle Larson at plus 900. Hendrick and Larson are just continuing to improve and fighting speed. You see it every week. Larson just keeps hanging around up front, getting closer. And I think that if he can finally get over the hump, I think he's really going to kind of go on a streak. And even when he's not, they're not over the hump technically now, but they're still running well and running up front. I do think he's probably going to most likely have to face William Byron next week in the second round. But Byron's been way off this year, so I'm not as worried about that, even though at Chicagoland, I think he will still be good there if he advances. I should say if he advances out of this first round, but just going off of what we would expect. So then it would come down again to Echo Park, where he could be facing a Ryan Blaney, perhaps, is what most people probably have, and that's another one that he's had trouble there, but anything can happen. So if he can get past that, I looked at the Wilkesboro stats. He's got a win there. He dominated there that first time that we went back. So I expect him, if he can get to North Wilkesboro, I actually kind of. He would probably be facing Denny Hamlin again, theoretically, we would think. I kind of trust Larson a little bit more on those short tracks than I do Hamlin. Maybe not this year, but I think if he's just got to beat him straight up, there's a good chance there. And at plus 900, I just thought those were really good odds. Then I've got his teammate at Chase Elliott at plus 1,000. Elliott is the consistent guy. I think he's got 2 DNFs this year, but outside of that, he runs it really well. He's been the best out of the Hendrick group for the most part this season. Again, Larson's kind of turned it up a little bit, but he is on the easier side of the bracket. So, the right side is just a dogfight. You have Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney. You've got William Byron, if he can turn it around. If Christopher Bell ends up being, fine and gets with it and can get past this week, he's there. Chris Buescher is there. So there's a lot of pretty heavy hitters compared to this other side where you have Tyler Reddick and then Chase Briscoe, but he's got a pretty tough first round with AJ Allmendinger. Then you got Ty Gibbs, who's been running well. So, yeah, I don't think, Bubba Wallace, if he could get past this first round, would be good. But he's going against Michael McDowell, so I don't see that happening. So I think he's just got a little bit of an easier side to get to the finals. And then when if he gets to the finals, anything can happen there. So that's another one who I just like that value for a guy who's consistent, who has a pretty good average finish at all of these tracks. So yeah, Chase Elliott plus 1,000 is another one that I like. Then my long shot is going to be Chris Buescher at plus 2,000. Again, he's another one who's just a very consistent driver. Doesn't seem to get into trouble. Doesn't have, I don't think, any DNFs this season. And I think that will play a big factor of just being consistent and staying out of trouble, because a lot of these guys do end up finding trouble at one place or another. So if he can get past Atlanta, and he's got one of the best average finishes at North Wilkesboro, and he has run well at Indy, and with the lack of big names on the other side, if he can get to Indy, there's not really anybody there, even with a Chase Elliott or a Tyler Reddick, that I'm too worried about. Tyler Reddick has been good at Indy. I don't really trust Reddick to put together a clean 5 weeks. I just don't see that happening. I actually don't have him in my Final Four in most of my brackets. I think there's one. I've done a couple. I love brackets. So yeah, that's my long shot that I think can get out of there. So yeah, those are my 4 picks for the in-season tournament challenge. And then I got the matchup for this week. And then just a little bit of the, other bets for Sonoma. So yeah, comment below. Tell me what you guys think. What are some of your picks for this race? But then I'd love to know, who do you guys think is going to win the in-season challenge? I'd also love to know what's just your thoughts on it. Going back to when I talked about, I'm kind of in a don't feel like I need it as much because of how well the season's been, but don't want it to go away. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Thank you for following. Please continue to like, share, subscribe if you don't already. That would be really appreciated. We will see you back Sunday night. I will be doing my post-race take show. Apologies, I could not get to it this last week and was pretty busy this week. Had, storms on Sunday night. Had anniversary obligations this week for the first couple days. So hopefully going to be back to a regular schedule, which means the post-race take show on Sunday, followed by the race rating short and the flag stand segment short that comes out on the TikTok and YouTube short. So again, follow me on there if you want to hear that. I'm Addy NASCAR. This is Chase for the Checkers. See ya.